We have breaking news into SportsCenter. Adam Schefter reporting that John Harbaugh is out as Ravens coach after 18 seasons.
Well, there it is. John Harbaugh, after 18 seasons as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, is gone. It feels weird. It feels like a part of my childhood is gone. I mean, this man had been the head coach of the Ravens since the Bush administration. There are people going off to college who have only known of the Ravens with Harbaugh as the man in charge. There are people who associate the Ravens-Steelers rivalry with the chess match between John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. There will be plenty of debate in the coming days and years about whether or not this was the right move, and whether the Ravens getting rid of Harbaugh will turn out like the Seahawks getting rid of Pete Carroll, where it was time to move on and worked out well, or like the Oilers getting rid of Bum Phillips, where it failed spectacularly in a blaze of glory, getting rid of the best coach in franchise history. Harbaugh will 100% be on the sidelines of some team in 2026. We don't know what team it's going to be, but his NFL career is not over at all. However, even though the man won a lot of games, including a Super Bowl, and is undoubtedly the greatest coach in the history of the Baltimore Ravens franchise, even though there's only 3 to choose from, one of the common complaints about Harbaugh for years has been his in-game management skills. I have plenty of videos about that, which you can learn more about by clicking the cards in the upper right corner as they appear on the screen, and the links in the description down below. He would burn timeouts at unnecessary times. He would go with a running back rotation instead of feeding the hot hand. He would have a propensity to blowing games at the worst possible time. He would not be aware of how to use the clock. This man, even though he won games, had his flaws, and those flaws eventually caught up with him. So I figure we do one final episode of Dumb Decisions on Harbaugh with the Ravens for old time's sake. One for the road that I would have done if I was making videos back in 2011, which I wasn't because I was in high school, but one that I absolutely would have gotten Harbaugh on for at the time and feel the need to get on him for now. Before I do that though, make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe, hype up that video, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel. Because we post every single day on here about the weird and the wacky history of the NFL with stories like this one that you may not have heard of before. So if you like that sort of stuff, then this is definitely the place for you. Thanks in advance for liking and subscribing, and for hyping up the video, and for helping us grow this community. And with that in mind, let's talk about the decision that may have cost the Ravens a chance at home field advantage all those years ago. December 18th, 2011. It's week 15 of the NFL season, and we've got a battle on our hands at Snapdragon Stadium between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Diego Chargers. Yes, the name was changed from Qualcomm Stadium to Snapdragon Stadium for 10 whole days. This is a monumental game for both of these teams, hence why it's under the lights on Sunday Night Football on NBC. For the Chargers, who sit at 6-7, they enter the day a game and a half back of the Denver Broncos for the AFC West lead. Lose this game, you need a miracle to make it to the playoffs. Win this game, and you keep yourself alive in the division hunt. For the Ravens, they've clinched a playoff spot, and they've got a half-game lead on the AFC North at 10-3, with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-4 after a loss earlier in the day. Win this one, and you've got sole possession of first with 2 games to go, and you keep yourself alive in the race for the number 1 seed and home field advantage in the conference. Lose this game, and you can basically kiss the number 1 seed goodbye, and you find yourself in a dogfight with your arch rival for a home game in the playoffs. And as you can tell from these highlights, things were not exactly starting off well for the Ravens. Baltimore had the 3rd best defense in the NFL in points allowed, and the 3rd best defense in the NFL in yards allowed. They were one of the most feared defenses in football, and if you named a defensive stat, they were right near the top of it. But you wouldn't be able to tell on this day. Not even close. On the opening drive of the game, the Chargers got a 74-yard touchdown drive. On the second drive, the Chargers got a field goal after driving 53 yards. And now, late in the half, they were on the move, as after starting at their own 20-yard line, They had gotten down to the 1 with 1:08 left, following a 19-yard pass by Phillip Rivers to Malcolm Floyd as they enter the red zone. Safe to say that thus far, while your defense had been on the field for 3 drives, had allowed points on every drive, and had allowed 206 yards total, that's a recipe for disaster, especially with the Chargers getting the ball to start the second half. Sure, the score is close right now. You're only down 10-7. But with the way the game is going, this has a chance to get really ugly really quickly. Still, you're not in a horrible spot. You have all your timeouts. You have a chance to get the ball back, prevent the double dip, steal a possession, and go from there. Just have to manage your timeouts properly down by the goal line, and you can keep it within striking distance. On first down, the Chargers hand the ball off to Mike Tolbert, and the Ravens defense actually gets a stop, stuffing him at the goal line. Perfect. A rare defensive win for the Ravens on this day. Now take the timeout, and oh god, they're not taking the timeout. That clock is running. That clock is ticking. Why would you not take the timeout? You have absolutely nothing to lose here. Do you not want the ball back? Do you want the Chargers to double dip on you? What good reason do you have for not taking a timeout here? Why would you not do this? Why is this clock still running? John Harbaugh, what are you doing, man? Why the heck would you not take a timeout?
Down and goal. A little toss back to the outside. Matthews, can he get in? And the Chargers signal touchdown. The officials are looking at each other, and then they do signal that he's in.
Well, great. Now you only have 13 seconds to go down the field and do something. Surely this won't be a regrettable decision whatsoever.
The Ravens are trying to get it deep enough to set up a potential field goal here. And they have to check it down to Rice underneath. And Rice is going to take it out to the 45.
Oh, wow. Look at what you could have done if you had more time available at your disposal. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Baltimore Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh. You have to wonder what could have been for the Ravens in 2011. On one hand, they finished the year with a 12-4 record, getting a first-round bye, and making it to the AFC Championship before Lee Evans and Billy Cundiff happened. On the other hand, their 4 losses came to 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs. They easily could have had home field advantage if not for some poor coaching on the part of Harbaugh's part from an in-game management standpoint, with this game being no exception. A 12-4 record is really good, but if the 4 losses are to 4 teams that finished this season with a combined record of 29-35, with the best of those teams being the freaking Tennessee Titans with Matt Hasselbeck on his last legs, and that's the reason you had to go to Foxborough in the playoffs, that's a bit of a yikes. And maybe the Ravens win this game if they handle the situation better. Alas, they did not, and here we are with things completely falling apart after this sequence. So with that being said, let's take a look at why not calling a timeout with 1:04 left at the 1-yard line is a really bad idea. At this point, there's a finite ending to the drive. What I mean by that is that the Chargers only have a chance to run 3 more plays, and regardless of whether or not they work, the drive will end. They have the 2nd and goal play, the 3rd and goal play, and the 4th and goal play. There are no more yards that can be gained. There are no more first downs that can be achieved. This is not like the Chargers have the ball at the 40. This drive is going to come to an end. And the Chargers are not pressed for time here in the slightest bit. They have no problem taking this clock all the way down, especially when they have 2 timeouts available at their disposal. Actually, if the Chargers win quickly, that'd be a dumb decision on their end. Whether you call a timeout with 1:04 or do the stupid thing and let this clock run all the way down and let the Chargers snap the ball with 26 seconds left, the Chargers are going to be able to get every play that they need off in time. It'd be one thing if there's a chance that the Chargers might not get all their plays off. So instead of having to stop them 4 times, you only have to stop them twice. But here, the Chargers have to snap the ball with 26 seconds left, since that's when the 40-second play clock expires. And if they get stopped, they can call out timeout with 22 seconds left or thereabout. And all they need to do if they get stopped on 3rd down is ensure that the 3rd down play does not take 22 seconds to run, which, spoiler alert, no goal line play in the history of football takes 22 seconds to run. And as long as that doesn't happen, the Chargers can snap the ball on 4th down if they get stopped on 3rd down and have the perfect amount of time available left to, do something here with it. It's a long way of saying that the clock is not a disadvantage or a hindrance for the Chargers here in any way whatsoever. They're going to be able to run their offense just fine. And if they need 3 more plays to score, they'll be able to get all 3 of those plays off. So if you're this man right here that you've been watching this entire time, in Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, why wouldn't you call a timeout to get the ball back? Especially with the Chargers starting the second half with the ball, if the Chargers score a touchdown here and then score again out of the halftime break, they have a chance to make it a 3-score game and put this one somewhat out of reach. Why wouldn't you want an extra possession yourself so that you can limit the halftime deficit? The Chargers don't even have their full arsenal of timeouts. So if you think the drive isn't going anywhere and you want to play conservatively and not risk giving it back to the Chargers, or the kickoff return puts you inside your own 10-yard line because of a penalty, you can do that. So there's no real risk attached there. If you wanted to run the ball 3 times, let's say, and not go until you got a 1st down, you could do that and not give it back to San Diego. And it's not like your offense has struggled on the day. On your first 3 drives, you picked up at least 1 1st down every time. You never went 3 and out. You had a 62-yard drive to start the game and a 75-yard drive resulting in a touchdown on the 2nd drive. On your first 3 drives, you picked up 155 yards total, averaging about 52 yards per drive. Maybe I get this if you were struggling offensively and you just decided, you know what, we can't do anything with the ball. Might as well just take it into the half and not risk anything. But if you have a drive that matches your average, you're easily going to be in field goal range to cut it to a 1-score game. It's not like the Ravens had 30 yards of offense on the entire day. It's not like we're saying the Ravens should have called a timeout so they get the ball back with time for 1 play to get into Hail Mary range. We're saying to call a timeout so that you'd have 2 timeouts left with over a minute. Plenty of time to move the ball and plenty of time to drive down the field. Because let's be honest, when your offense is playing well, your defense is not playing well, and the opposition gets the ball to start the second half, meaning that you're going to be down a possession and down by 2 scores, wouldn't you want to have a minute and 2 timeouts to work with? Doesn't that give you a better chance to win than having all 3 timeouts, but only 15 seconds or thereabout to work with? And clearly, as evidenced by Harbaugh calling a pass and being aggressive coming out of the ensuing kickoff, the Ravens wanted to go. The Ravens were trying to score. They weren't just running the ball or falling on it, trying to take it into the half. The idea was to score and cut it to a 1-score game. And yet, you managed the clock in a way that made it next to impossible to cut it to a 1-score game? You wanted to score and cut the deficit, but you did it in the worst way possible and in a way that eliminated any chance you had at scoring? How does that make any sense at all? I genuinely can't think of one good reason as to why Harbaugh didn't take a timeout in this spot. No one asked him about it in the post-game press conference, and no one harped on this after the fact. Probably because the game was a bloodbath with the floodgates opening up in the second half. But seriously, are there any cons to this? It works out the way you want, and you're right in it, only down by 1 score. It doesn't work out the way you want, and the Chargers don't have enough time to stop the clock and get it back themselves. Or if they do get it back, they're likely going to be pinned so far deep with so little time left that they just take it into the half. The Chargers' offensive game plan doesn't change regardless of how you call your timeouts, but your plan changes significantly, and it changes in a way that benefits you and gives you a greater chance to score and gain a possession, which is the name of the game. Just poor in-game management skills and decisions like this have plagued Harbaugh throughout his career. And yes, it's gotten way worse over the last few years. But the signs were there at times, even when he was widely considered to be one of the best coaches in the league. Because this is a situation that, simply put, cannot happen. So what did we learn from all of this? If you have two options, and one option gives you a greater, realistic chance to score, while not impacting your team in a negative way whatsoever, then choose that option. If there's a finite ending to the drive, and the other team has a goal to go spot, has their timeouts, has plenty of time, and is in no rush to make a move, then you need to be aware of that and manage the clock accordingly. If you have a chance to steal a possession, and it comes at no cost and no real risk to you whatsoever, then you've got to take advantage of that. Especially if you're trying to do something with the ball when you get it back, especially if you're trailing, and especially if you're not getting the ball out of the halftime break. And if you manage the clock like this at your second stint, you're not going to be lasting at that second stint for long. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live, and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.